Do I do the heel thing? Word vomit here. Wait for it. I don't know who's in charge of these yarn labels for hobby. Hello magical makers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Nicole of Woven Tales Designs, and in today's check-in we're going to go through how well I did for my second week of my WIP tail, which is me going through and trying to finish and fasten off 9 projects that I have had for quite some time. Well, I shouldn't say that. Some of them I've had for years, and then some of them are fairly new. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I did post an original video exposing my WIP bag and showing exactly how much work I have to do. But the reason I'm doing this is because I want a clean slate for 2025. I am a pattern designer, and that is one of my passions, but I get so bogged up mentally when I know I have other projects that I started and didn't finish. It's just, my crochet morality is a little bit tainted when I don't finish my projects. So hence the big giant WIP tail, where I am going to push myself and motivate myself to be a little more disciplined. So with that being said, let's go right into my calendar. I also shared how I organize my WIPs here on my channel in a little short behind the scenes type of vlog. It's in my Once Upon a Skein video bucket series, where that is basically just me sharing with you my process. This is my weekly planner. I start and end my weeks on Wednesdays because I'm releasing videos on Wednesdays, so that is how in my brain I'm able to break things up. And then I kind of technically get a break in the middle of the week because Saturday and Sundays are my free days. So let's see how well I did, because I think I did pretty good, but then sometimes I look at this and I'm like, did I do good? I don't know. You can be the judge. For once, I'm okay with being judged in this case. Also, peep the fit. This is like my jersey tee that I got from Disney World last year, and I love it. It's got like junk food on the arms. The back is like this like Walt Disney World junk food font. It's one of my favorite shirts. Anyway, so what did I get done? So as you know, I have 9 WIPs that I have to work on. It's a WIP buffet. It is a WIP buffet. The biggest thing that I actually have been working on mostly is my temperature blanket. That's been a running theme. It's been the thing I now turn to when I don't want to turn my brain on and follow one of the patterns that I'm working on, or use my brain to finish one of the patterns I'm working on. It's been actually surprisingly the one I've been the most motivated to work on. I think because I know I have a lot to do to finish it, and in my brain, if I don't do anything or have any motivation for anything, at least I can work on my temperature blanket. So that is the one I've been working on. That is letter A in my chart, and I have things listed in this legend at the bottom. That's how I know. Little check boxes, so if I've worked on it, even if I've done the project for maybe just 1 row, I won't count it if I've only picked it up for like 3 stitches, but if I did just 1 row of something or just a small section, I'll still give myself a check mark, because that's still motivation, knowing that I picked up my hook and worked on it just that little bit. And then hopefully that longing to come back to it to do more, that 1 more row syndrome, hopefully kicks in, and it usually does with this project, which is great. So did a lot of that. I did work on I-cords this week. That was the second project on the list. I did work on the backpack a little bit, the one you saw from the last check-in. And I did work on my rabbits, and I did work on my mucklucks. So it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I worked on 6 out of 9 WIPs, which is great. Now, one of them I can't work on at all yet because I still don't have the yarn. I'm waiting for it from Knit Picks. It's still not here in the mail yet. It's my monkey that I have started and lost yarn chicken miserably with. So that I can't even like attempt it yet. I know when I get the yarn for that, I am going to be like legitimately, that will be done in an afternoon. Like, it will be done so fast because it's such a cute project. I'll put a little b-roll of it up on the screen here. It's literally like, I love the colors, everything about it like boosts my crojo. So it's that will be done, but I just haven't had a chance to pick that up. Spoiler alert, that's really hard for me to say. Spoiler alert, one of my WIPs I have canceled. It is my own fault. It has nothing to do with the source of the pattern. The pattern is from another designer. Nothing to do with them. It's all my fault. And I rarely I rarely frog projects, and I rarely put them in the cancel pile. I usually always find a way to push through and do something with it, but this time it just didn't work out. So I will share that with you. That is my drama for the week, is that we are actually technically now down to 8 WIPs to complete by the end of March. So that makes me a little sad, but it's okay, because I have to be honest with myself. If something is fully not going to be a finished piece that I can be proud of, and if I have too many reasons to not work on it, then, you know, what's the point? First thing I'm going to talk about is the most fun, and the one, we're going to start on a high note here. I did fasten off one of my WIPs. So technically, when I said I'm down to 8 WIPs from canceling one, I'm actually down to 7 because I finished one. So that is something I'm really excited to share with you. Now, you already technically saw these mostly finished, but here they are. These are my mucklucks. This is a pattern prototype that I have been working on, and it's not completely perfected, but I did want to give the option for any future maker a chance to know just how to like hand sew their own bottom to the mucklucks, because I'm not gonna lie, I've made a bunch of these for myself, and the ones that have lasted the most are the ones that have a bottom. And that is because I wear my slippers hard. I wear slippers every day. I'm not really a sock wearer, but I don't like my feet being cold or getting like dust on my feet when I walk around the home. So I do wear slippers all the time, and especially ones with soles work for me, because I'm always like really fast walking around, like cleaning up and doing all the things. I have a crazy toddler. He's wonderful, but I don't always like to like feel like I can't chase him properly. So let me just slip these puppies on so you can see the finished look on. Oh, now they always are a little tight the first time you put them on, just because I don't block these. These are just as is. You don't have to block these. I've designed them to not have to be blocked. I don't think crocheters like blocking things. I would say do a gauge swatch before making these. I'm a little bit funny because I'm an in-between size. So I'm a 6.5. I used to be a 5.5, 6, and then I had my first child and my feet expanded. So I have a 6.5, but look how cute these are. This is like the heel thing that people do, right? Okay, I'll hold it like this. This is the muckluck on my foot. Now, again, this is a little small on me, but I like wearing things tighter, so it works for me. It's all about your comfortability, but the yarn that I used for this, I didn't share this in the original video. The yarn that I used for this is yarn that I bought in Italy. I went to a flea market, and they were selling like these like bags. They had like a whole craft section. I don't know where these people get this stuff. I guess it's from warehouses, but they had bags on bags on bags of craft stuff, like yarn, fabrics, buttons, metal pieces, like to like, you know, like clasps and stuff. They had all kinds of stuff. And when I saw the yarn, I just like lost it. I had learned enough Italian at the time, I already forgot it, to where I was able to actually kind of like ask questions and like whatever. And I felt so proud of myself. And so I basically I bought a whole bag. I had bought 6 balls of this yarn. It's a chainette style yarn, and it's variegated, but with very easy changes of ombreing into the next color. So it's like, in my opinion, like a perfect ombre. And when I double stranded the yarn, which these mucklucks are always double stranded, the yarn, it just created this really cool rainbowing effect. And then I just used some fur yarn from Hobby Lobby that I had in stash. I had enough for this project, thank goodness. And I tried to get the bottoms to match a little bit. They're very much buckling. I don't love that for me, but it is what it is. Again, this was like a test again to remind myself, like, how do I add this part to the shoe? So I will suss out those details down the road when I do actually go to write the pattern and record how you make them and all these things, but these are my mucklucks and I love them. This is my only fasten off item from this week, which is fine because we have plenty of weeks, like what, it's like 12 weeks in total between January and March. So yay, so exciting. Okay, next we're just gonna go into the canceled WIP drama. Now this is something that I didn't think was going to be canceled because, again, I'm going to say this until I don't feel guilty anymore. I love this pattern. I volunteered as tribute to test this pattern. That's how I found out about it ages ago. Probably like, I would say like 2 years ago or a year ago. I can't remember. But I volunteered to pattern test this, and I had a great time during the test. Beautiful pattern. I was like, I've never made a little dress for a little girl, and I loved so much how it looked on my niece that I was like, I want to make another one. And I don't know, you know, my friends we're all having kids, you know, I don't know if this could be given to a friend in the future, or I could, you know, give it to my own daughter. And it has been sitting in my WIP pile for a long time for a reason. I loved the colors that I chose for the yarn, but as I was working it up, they didn't really turn out like I thought they would. The yarn that I chose is it's a color changing yarn, but I didn't realize until I started using that it was a self-striping yarn, and it had abrupt stops between the different colors. It didn't have the gradual fade into the next, and that really hurt my motivation. I didn't realize it at the time, because even now, after being a crocheter for over 10 years, I think I know myself. I think I know how to select yarn, but I just don't. And then the other problem that I had was that the yarn itself the two different yarns that I chose were not compatible as far as like yarn density and squish factor and all that. I had one yarn that was like a cotton yarn, which was the color changing one, and then I had the other one that was an acrylic yarn, and I thought that it would be fine because they're categorized as the same weight, but we all know the labels can lie, especially when they come from big box retailers. Anyway, that's my little bit of a soapbox, but let me show you. So these are the two yarns I was talking about. This is it's a hot mess. Look at that. Look at this. It's like not even staying in the cake. What yarn doesn't want to stay in the cake? I should have known that this was a sign at the beginning, but here it is. This is Yarntopia, I believe. I don't remember the name of the colorway. Do I have a label in here? Oh, I do have a label in here. Okay, so the color is Ocean, and this is Yarntopia. This is considered no, it's a fine. So that was my first mistake. This pattern needs and calls for a 3. But because I thought, okay, I'm just using this as an accent color for the trees on the dress and whatnot, I thought it would be fine. I was like, it's fine. I'm an experienced crocheter. It was not fine. And then this is what's left of the color changing yarn. I believe this is like their sugar wheel DK. I don't know. I don't even remember the name anymore. That is what's left over of that, and they are very much not the same. The cotton works up much denser than the acrylic, and the acrylic was almost too soft to where, like, when I was catching my floats in the back of the work, it was like popping through the stitches. This is what it looks like. This is as far as I got before I made my choice to frog it, and I'm just really sad because, again, this design is beautiful. Bonnie did a great job with, you know, the fit and the style and the different lengths of stitches. The skirt itself is a treble crochet throughout in the round. You do all of the increases in the first round, and that way it gives you the volume that you want, and you can adjust that to how much you want your skirt volume to be. It's very adjustable. I love the tree, and the neckline is very like easy and simple. The straps are nice and wide, so this is very appropriate for a little baby or a little girl. And then the bottom bit is actually my favorite, but it doesn't match the rest of the dress. Now we're seeing some colors here. We got pink, we got mauve, we have, like, at the very top, this lavender color, which is the last color from here, but it doesn't work for me. I think the biggest reason is this white cream that's just slapped in the middle of the color cake. I don't know why they put cream in there. I think they had a home run with the rest of the colors and they could have just left it at that, but the cream just makes this kind of like someone took an eraser and went like across the dress, and I hate that. I don't think it's very flattering. I also, looking further into this, so the way that the color changes worked, it starts here at the top of this tunic and moves into this blue, then it moves into this green again somehow. I don't know where the blue started and stopped. And then we went into the white, and then we went into this like sand, brown, dirty sand color, which is actually quite pretty. But then because of the way the construction of the skirt bottom is done, it's done separately. So then my color started back up again from the bottom, working up with the construction of the pattern. And then I seamed it together. And by the time I attached it, I said, I don't like where the colors fell. Again, I've already made this once. It's a beautiful pattern. I absolutely love it. It's easy to read. It's easy to do. Please go check that out. I can't say it enough. But I just hated how the yarn made it look. The yarn did the whole thing a disservice. And I'm sure some of you might think in your heads like, Nicole, it's not that ugly. I agree. But it's not, it might not be ugly, but it's just not pretty to me. I don't think it's pretty. I think it looks wrong. I think it looks like a mistake that I like forgot how the skirt was supposed to be made, and because the colors just look so confusing. And they say when you're working a pattern that has details and motifs that draw your eye, the worst thing that you could do is pick colors or a type of yarn that also tries to show out and be the main character, and then you're left with this battle of the eye, like where's your eye gonna go? You're left with this weird, like it's weird. So that is why I have decided to cancel this WIP. So what I'm probably gonna do is I'm just gonna frog it. I am gonna keep the yarn. I'm not gonna throw the yarn away, because I'll find something to do with the yarn later on. I use DK yarn every now and then, right? But I am gonna frog it and cancel this WIP and chalk it up to maker error. And I'm really sad because I actually was looking forward to having another dress. Leave me a comment down below. Should I make another one? And if I do, like, what colors would you do? If and when I do pick this up again and do it again, I will share that with you, but this just didn't work. It didn't work, and I'm okay with that. I was sad about it for a day, and then I woke up and I said, you know what? That's what this project is all about. It's all about disciplining yourself. Nothing disciplines you more than a failure. So with that being said, this is my canceled WIP that was not fastened off, the Evergreen Tunic by Woodland Stitchcraft. Oh well, c'est la vie. Moving on to the things that are still in progress. So I did get a lot of good work done on the temperature blanket. Again, I'm just going to pull this bigums up. This is quite a project, let me tell you. Woohoo! Oh my gosh, the more work on it and add to it, the heavier it gets. I mean, this could truly be like a weighted blanket if I wanted it to. I actually ended up seaming 3 of the strips down to the full piece of the blanket. This is, in my opinion, going to be a very beautiful project when I am done. No, I have not woven any ends in. I really need to do better with that. I need to weave. I like weaving in ends. I really actually do. I think it's because these are from so long ago that I'm not like motivated to do it. Usually I'll weave things in as I work on them. Somehow these got away from me. I did want to show you. So when I do get to a day in my weather journal that I have marked as a travel day, in the very last round, I add, if you can see this, I add a white gold crochet thread into the last round. So I basically just double strand it with whatever yarn is used for the last round. I did get to this part and it was fun because it broke up the monotony of the like consistent same 4 colors I've been using for the past like 6 strips. It's been nice to change it up. So I was really glad to get to a travel set of dates that I could like get different colors in here. My eyes were a little bit happier. I did use my work in bulk for the center pieces and then can have a day to connect them all. That's been working great for me. That I talked about in my last check-in video. I'm using a batch method to get this temperature blanket worked on, and it's really helping me. Like I said earlier, I've been returning to this project as the project that I work on if I have no motivation for anything. If I can't think, I just want to sit and do something mindless while I watch reruns of Project Runway. Like, this is what I turn to. So I was really happy that this has now become my comfort blanket. Do have to say though, there might be a chance that this will not be fully completed for the calendar year of 2023, because that's what this blanket represents. The reason for that is The yarn that you're seeing the most in here, Yarn Bee's Nature's Nook, and it's a yarn that is discontinued. Last year I went and I bought maybe three. I bought 3 skeins of this that I found through a vendor on Etsy, because again, they don't sell it in Hobby Lobby anymore. It's discontinued, and this is the one that I use the most. And I am now down to a skein and a third of it. And I have a lot of days that use this color. In fact, I would say over 60% of these pieces use that color. So that's a lot. And I have only gotten through, I would say, like the end of June. We're nearing the end of June in my days to work on here. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this blanket. That is the true drama with this, because I won't be able to get this yarn again. So if you're someone that's made a temperature blanket before and you're doing something extravagant and you're using more of one color than you realized, make sure that's the color that you can get in bulk. And like, just if you have an instinct that like, oh, I am going to use a lot of this, buy more than you need. The worst case scenario is that you use it for another project. And I guarantee you, because you picked the color, it's going to be something you'll like. So that's my fear with this, is that I'm actually not going to make it through the year. And I don't really think I'm going to be able to find any more of that yarn, because that was a year ago that I found it. This blanket I started 2 years ago. The yarn was discontinued very shortly after I had started my project. So that's the really sad thing. I haven't used any of 2 of the colors that I have. Beautiful colors. Haven't used them all because they are like the high and the low end of the humidity scale. So anyway, so this is what I've got done on my temperature blanket. Again, it's been my comfort. I love it. I have been well acquainted with it, and it is something that I am proud of. But by God, if I don't weave in these ends before the next vlog, I don't know, you can give me a virtual slap on the wrist. That's for sure. Okay, a project and WIP that I did work on last week, I did work on the rabbits, which was the very last project to be listed. It's letter I. I didn't do much with it, but I was able to look at the pattern and say, okay, what can I sit down really quick tonight and just bust out with this pattern? Because I really wanted to say that I got a little work done, because I didn't want to go like a whole 2 weeks without even touching it. Because again, these are meant to be a gift for a friend of mine. And so I looked at the pattern and I realized that, oh, I have all of these ears for these rabbits, and there's 2 ears per rabbit, and there's 6 rabbits in total. So I did 6 ears, or 3 pairs of ears, and this is what they look like. It's really not much to look at. And I'm using a DK weight yarn for this. It could technically be a weight too. Again, this is like Hobby Lobby's yarn. You know, I love their yarn, but they do not label it well. But this is a really lovely little ear. This is the Soft and Sleek DK yarn that they have. This is the gray color. And then the other color I have is just like their white. But so I just made 6 of these, and that is that. I left enough yarn for them to be sewn into the rabbit later. In order for me to really make progress on this, I do need to go in and finish the white rabbit bodies. I think I have 1.5 to finish, and then I have to make the legs. I believe the legs are like you crochet them from the body, so that won't be too hard. And I think I have to make the back feet too. I'm not sure. There's a lot to be done. So I do want to make some progress on this, because this is the one that I want to be done before leaving Florida, to want to be able to get this done so I can mail it off to my friends. So it's just one less thing that I have to pack, and one less thing that I have to worry about getting ruined in the commute. That is all I have of my little rabbits. I didn't work on my Sunburst granny square bag. That is one that I am excited to actually restart and get going. The reason I haven't done that yet is because I really did want to make more progress on other ones first before I wrap my head around this. But I did, when I was at Hobby Lobby, I was grabbing a few things, and I grabbed a zipper for it. So this is a closed zipper, which means it's just like it has a stopping point and a starting point. And this is a sports zipper, so it has a nice industrial pull. And this is the one that I got for the bag. So this is going to help me determine exactly kind of like the dimensions of how long I want it to be. So this is kind of like me getting my brain ready to pick this project back up, because now I have the zipper, and I know this is a 14-inch zipper, which funny enough is the same length and style of zipper that I use for those toddler backpacks, which will be the next thing I talk about. So yay, got this. I'm so happy I got it, so that now I can add this and incorporate this in using the same techniques that I incorporated the zipper into the toddler backpack. So okie dokie. So I could have had this fastened off today, but I ran out of time. It's my fault. I had a great moment today. We did some family outings, and I had the opportunity to be passenger princess. There was so much traffic because by the time we left the house, did the one errand, did the second errand, did the third errand, on our drive back, it took us like double the time to get back. It was like 30-minute drive to the first errand, and by the time we backtracked all the way back home, it was rush hour, and I was in the car for like an hour. And so I had an hour and a half of time as passenger princess that I could have used to fasten off this project, and it didn't happen because I forgot my crochet hook at the house. I have a pink sparkly bag of notions, hooks, whatever, that I always take with me wherever I go, and I have, you know what, I'm gonna get up right now. I'm gonna get it. Usually when I go and I get to be passenger princess, I take a nice modest little bag. Shout out to my friend Darlene for giving me like 2 of these bags. I love this bag. It's lined on the inside. This is like super easy, and I like just like simple colors. I usually take this with like either like a knit project or just like a quick, like something I can make quickly, like those temperature blanket circles, you know, that I was batching. So this is the notions bag that I usually use. If you've watched any of my tutorials, you've definitely seen it. This is my tried and true. I got this at like an Office Depot in the children's back to school section. Don't judge me. I just liked it because it was sparkly, and because it's so bright pink, I was like, I will never lose this thing because I've lost many a bag in my time. So I keep in this like literally like I have like 6 or 7 different hooks in here. I have crochet, elastic thread. I have even like a cable needle for knitting. I have like 5 stitch markers. I even have an amigurumi blush brush in case, I don't know why it's in here, I probably shoved it in here. And I have tapestry needles. I even have like a yarn weight gauge thing that I've gotten from Trinkles, love it. So you would think with like my 6 hooks and all my things in here that I would have the hook that I needed. I didn't. So because of that, I only got to work on a very small portion of this backpack, and it is what it is. A couple days throughout the week, I did pick this up. Again, this is just like, I'm not motivated to work on this because it's like the straps are busy work, because it's row by row, back loop only. I don't know why it just doesn't inspire me. I just don't love it. I don't know, for some reason making ribbing, even with knitting, doing ribbing things, I just don't love. I don't know why. I think because I feel like it takes forever. It is what it is. Now this is the yarn that I've been working with. This is a yarn I acquired from my mother-in-law. It's a I don't even have the label for it, just like an old medium weight yarn, very acrylic-y, very plasticky, very old, probably from like the 90s. And then I have this yarn from Michael's. This is like their standard loops and threads medium weight yarn. These have been double stranded for this, and you saw this in the last check-in, so this is nothing new. But I do, whenever I get to this point where I'm like nearly done with the backpack, I start putting the things inside that I need to finish it. So so I have my straps in here. Now I did work out one of the straps, and this is what it looks like. Again, you see that like row by row back loop only single crochet. I have to do 50 rows of this. So that is why I get a little bit bored, because for such a small part, it feels like it takes forever. And then this is what I did change from my last couple of like goes at this design. I did a thermal stitch, which is basically a double walled crochet stitch. If you haven't used it before, it's actually really cool. And I found a way to do it with the right side of the stitch facing out. So if any of you that watch this video are curious about how to do a reverse thermal stitch, let me know and I will make a little video and mini tutorial. So this is what I worked with, but in my brain I said, you know what, if this is a strap, and this will get like the elastic on the back side, so it will like squinch up a little bit more. When I was looking at this, I said, I don't really love how I felt like the straps could be a little thicker in width. So when I saw that, I was like, all right, let me work up like another strap, making it just maybe like one more stitch wide than it usually is. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 6 stitches wide. So I said, well, if I make it 7 stitches wide, I know that's such a small adjustment, but like maybe it won't be so bad. And I did, and I like it so much more. Now, this is the only thing I worked on in the car today. I was able to. Now, when I add the elastic in the back, that's what it looks like. It kind of looks like this kind of like spine in a way, but I work into the ridges of the back loop only texture. And again, that's something I found on TikTok ages ago, and it works for me. So here it is, very stretchy. It snaps back, so that's why I like using it, and I put it on the inside, the side you don't see, so it works wonders with keeping the longevity of the straps. For if you have a crazy toddler like me, it is very important. This is the width I'm going to be using, because if we can see the difference here, it is a bit of a difference. And I enjoy the thicker look. I think it looks more sturdy, more appropriate for a child. So these will get attached on the side here. The dark green will be attached to the dark green, and then the other part will be up to the very top of the bags. Once I frog this and remake the second strap, I will then sew them on to the bag, and then all I have left to do is add the buckle in the center, and then I make a little I-cord that I attach at the very top to have it as like a little, like to hang it up if you're like someone that likes to hang bags up. That is what I will add, and that is that. I used to, with other versions of this, I used to make a pocket for the front, but I haven't done that in a while because the pockets weren't looking right. They weren't looking as structured as the rest of this bag. So I think I will make another pocket maybe in the future, but maybe make it as an option, and I would like to make the pocket zippered. In the past, the pocket was just closed with snaps, which is quite finicky when you're trying to open and close a kid's bag. So I stopped making them that way, but that is my progress on my toddler tether backpack. Oh, and you might be wondering, where does the tether go? I actually also make another I-cord that I attach to the bottom, and I make it very tight, almost basically just like it's like kind of like a flap or something to hook your finger into. And then that I bought, because I didn't have any of these with me, these swivel hooks from Hobby Lobby, and they are like really, really easy. I like the swivel hooks. I like the ones that just have the simple press in and not the ones that you have to pull down, because that is so much faster to like get in and off the backpack. This will be done by the time I do the next check-in, so be aware that you will see another fasten off if I can get my act together. Okay, and then we're ending the last WIP check-in on my I-cords. This was the bag that held all the yarn to turn into the I-cords. I do have a tulip I-cord maker, and this is one that was already made. I actually found it stuffed in the bag, so I guess I had gotten started on this maybe before my last move, but these are so easy to do. If you're again looking for something mindless and you just want to like have a fun project or something different to do, get yourself an I-cord maker, because I'm telling you, like, it is truly like a, oh, what's the word for it? It's a very meditative thing. Like, we think that crocheting row by row and doing those repetitive stitches is meditative. This is very meditative, and it's really soothing for me. I love like using the marled yarn. Look at that. It looks so cool. I love it. This is the project that I have at my computer. So when you're editing videos, if you've ever edited video, you know, my computer still, even as advanced as it is, takes time to upload the media into the editor, and it takes time to render and load and then download and then do all the things and upload to YouTube. So while these things are going on, sometimes I just want to make sure I stay by my computer. This has been my computer desk project, which is actually pretty great because everything fits in this bag. I can easily like pull out something and just crank. Even as I'm listening back on my clips and I'm figuring out what parts I want to keep in the videos and what parts I don't, this is like something that as I'm like sitting there, I'm not scrolling on my phone and being like distracted. I'm like actively listening, because this is just keeping my hands busy. So this has been like the perfect project for when I'm at my desk, so I love it. Eventually what will happen with these, maybe I'll do a video on how I turn these I-cords into actual yarn. But technically this is already like super bulky yarn. So what ends up happening is I leave all of the ends unfinished to where you can just pull this strand and kind of unravel. But I will take the ends and I will sew them together. So I'll take an open end and a closed end. So say for example, I'm adding these together. I'll take the closed end here and the open end here, and I will sew the open to the closed and tuck the tails inside. And then I will start attaching all of these into a really long piece of yarn, and then that will be wound into a ball. Then from that ball, I can crochet whatever I want. Usually the best thing to make with these things are like baskets or placemats or rugs. And in fact, let's go on a field trip. I'll show you exactly what I did with this the first time I used I-cords for a crochet project. Y'all, I cannot leave my blanket anywhere. My cats will find this thing and try to sleep on it and make the biscuits on it. Jaxie, excuse me, ma'am, she is so comfy. Look at this. She's like, you can't kick me out. This is where I feel comfortable, right? Yeah? Okay, well, let's go on a field trip and show them your other favorite place in the house. Okay, Jax? Okay, so here we have this really interesting, crazy eyeball looking thing. I realized it looks like a weird eyeball after I made it, but this is a placemat, or rather a rug that I have on the floor where I put my cat's food and water. So I don't really love that this stuff is on the floor, but when I have it on this rug, it feels like it's not on the floor, and they always know where to find it. Because we do move a couple times a year due to my husband's job. He travels for work, so we do like to have there she is, hi honey. We do like to have a consistent place for their food and water, and this has always helped them because it's colorful, it's attractive, and I do wash it actually pretty frequently. I probably wash it like every other week, which in my opinion is frequent for a crochet make, and it is held up so much. The only part that looks kind of crazy is this part, because I used Wonder Fluff from Knit Picks, which is this like alpaca yarn, and it's completely felted. I mean, it's just felt at this point, but I just love it. And this is all using scrap yarns. Now they're all different weights, so this is what will be changed if I go to use my I-cords in the future. I will absolutely group them together according to their densities and thicknesses, and then make from what those come together to be a new project. So I just wanted to show you guys this because I really am proud of this. It's one of the few crochet pieces that I have that I use every single day, and I love it, and I think it's really eclectic looking. I even like made this like last border round with like a chain 6 loop. And it's really great. I'm really proud of that. It's such a random piece, but I love it. All right, well, this video is long enough as it is. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I do have hopes and dreams to at least fasten off that backpack by next week. I'd love to, again, fill that I-cord bag even more, and I will. I know I will. I would like to get a big progress done on the rabbits. So maybe, maybe what I should do for myself, maybe I take a week off from the temperature blanket, or I only work on it on the weekends and let that be like my relaxing moment, because I do think I need to forge ahead, especially with the loss of one of the WIPs and the fasten off point of another WIP. I think that I deserve to get some progress done on some other things. So this is how this project can be so motivating. Going through my WIP bag is that once I start getting things done, it's kind of like the snowball effect, like more of my mental focus and energy will be put towards the other projects that have not had any progress on them. So it can be like a really good thing if I let it be. So anyway, I'm gonna go check the tracking on that fur yarn for that monkey and call it a night, get it in early to bed for once. I hope you all have a creative day adding magic to your stitches in your own way, and I will see you in the next check-in. Bye! Bye! Ooh, a surprise. Maybe not. Yes, so, excuse me. Anyway, and, I will get my act together. Okay. I don't know what I'm saying. I need to redo this. This is